So my next presenter is Paul Kavavu from Safaricom. He is the Chief Financial Services Officer with Safaricom. He has worked in the sector for more than 19 years. He has worked across finance, telco, and then banking, and he has also headed different services within Safaricom before his current role now. So let's have a brief presentation from him on the mobile money revolution from Safaricom's perspective. Please welcome Paul to the stage.
Good afternoon. First, I think one is to appreciate the invitation to be on this summit. This is my second time to do a summit in Ethiopia. Secondly, it's a privilege to meet the industry leaders across the banking industry and the various fintechs that we have. But truly, it's an humbling and a challenging moment for me to speak after these three gentlemen. I try my best. I use my Kenyan experience, the context of Kenya, to tell the story. So my presentation is very simple. It's all about the revolution you have seen on mobile money. It's not a new story. This has been read, but I just want to be able to tell it in all my own words. And how then financial inclusion empowers economies, growth in GDP, what does financial inclusion, and what I'm coming out from this conversation is common themes. We are seeing themes from financial literacy, themes from partnerships, and what it means for our country and the growth, and in terms of meeting the customer needs and challenges. Okay, this picture is not new. How many of you have seen this picture before? So I can see at least a number of hands up there. I just want to start off from there. Many people have talked about the success of Mpesa. Mpesa in Kenya has its own unique way. It has grown when it started and yet it has grown. You may be aware Mpesa has been launched in a number of countries. There's a presence in 7 countries. It has failed in 4 other countries in the world. So Mpesa's success cannot be replicated across markets. It's unique in its own way. But the picture you see here, it tells you where Mpesa started from. Many have never understood why there's a man standing here and there's a couple on the other side. The story of Mpesa started because the success of the story of Mpesa is purely because it was meeting a certain customer need. The need that existed and a challenge that was in the society. And to use my own words, I was part of this evolution. I was a young man by the time I'd finished school. And the story about Mpesa was all about all of us who used to school in the village, we get our jobs in the urban areas, and every end of the month, we will go back home, either using the transport means where you could walk to be able to take money to your parents. We started becoming more innovative. We started now alternating. Rather than going every month, we will alternate for someone else because the cost of going home was not cheap. Then we became more innovative, where then we started using the transport means to be able to send money from the cities to the village. So when M-Pesa came, it was truly a relief because it's sorting a real issue. Why am I giving you this story? You'll never be successful in financial services unless you are solving a customer need or you are solving a customer challenge. Whatever you do, however innovative you are, however the best technology you are using, unless you are solving a customer need or a customer challenge, you will not be able to go far. So, the success of M-Pesa made many countries to think that it's possible to replicate the success. You can actually see M-Pesa I've talked about is now how many countries? I think where we are going into 1, 2, 3, almost 8 countries. Ghana will be dropping off, it was sold just the other day. But on the map, you'll see Ethiopia. Today, I may not be able to answer many questions about M-Pesa in Ethiopia, but the point I could say is we are proud and happy, and thank you to everyone sitting in this room. Finally, we got a license to be able to launch mobile money. We will be giving an update as to when this will happen. We are continuing to prepare ourselves for that. But what I want to call out on this is just to see the value or the volumes that M-Pesa is able to move across all these countries. I just want to call one KPI. On a yearly basis, Mpesa was able to move 25 billion volume of transactions. Why is that possible? Because mobile money is not about how big the value is how many transactions you're able to do. It doesn't matter how big the ticket, how small the ticket is. It's all about being able to meet the needs of the customers, however small the value they're transacting. I'm confusing this too. But let me get into it. That was just a background. I think the most important thing the people sitting in this room we need to realize is, what does financial inclusion mean to a country? The graph you see here, it will show you how Kenya's transition since the launch of Mpesa and mobile money. And back you, in Kenya, Mpesa is not the only player. We have Airtel, we have Telcom. So this is a combination of efforts by the mobile money providers in Kenya, including banks as well. But what we will see here from a financial inclusion perspective, depending how you want to look at it on this side, you see before Mpesa was launched, financial inclusion in Kenya was as low as 26%. When Mpesa was launched in the year 2007, you can see the exponential growth to the last data that we have in 2021, where financial inclusion in Kenya stands at 84%. But I think I want you to hold your thought there and think about how this graph has moved. From the year 2006, as low as 26, to the huge jump you see at 66.7%. I want to explain to you that jump is not just for the launch of Mpesa, but what are the reasons behind that jump that we're able to see between 27% to 68%. The other correlation I want to bring to you, financial inclusion has a direct correlation to the growth of an economy. If you look at, by coincidence, I tried to pull this graph, put it together across, again, as GDP growth of the country, and you can actually see a similarity on how the Kenyan economy has been able to grow vis-a-vis the growth in financial inclusion. Sorry. So I told you to hold your thought between the growth between the 26% and the 67%. Access to financial service is one. But the most important thing is, how people really using it. There's an element of use cases that drives financial inclusion. Having a mobile wallet, be able to do a wallet-to-wallet, be able to do a cash in, cash out is not good enough. And why I talked about the 67% is because that growth, the spike that you saw on the graph, it was not because of the basic mobile money services that were launched by Mpesa, but it's what happened in the year 2012 and 2013. What happened in the year 2012, 2013, it is the first time we were able to launch microcredit and micro savings, and it's the time we were able to integrate with banks. Can be able to launch the basic mobile money services, the integration and the partnership, which my the previous speakers have talked about, it is what really fuels growth, because it addresses an actual and an existing fundamental societal issue. And that is why you see that spike. But again, I'm trying to show the correlation between the use cases that we're able to launch over the years and how the financial inclusion has grown over the years. But I think it was important for me to be able to cement, and again to put weight to that. MNOs alone, driving mobile money without the partnership with banks, cannot be the only fuel, cannot be the only driver for financial inclusion. Okay, with all the success people have talked about, what I've talked about in achieving fundamental growth in terms of financial inclusion, I think the question here is, has Mpesa really reached its fullness in terms of our potential in Kenya? But the answer is no. What Mpesa has done over the years is to resolve the basic customer needs and challenges. There's a huge opportunity for Mpesa in Kenya. And you can imagine if there is an opportunity in Mpesa for Kenya, which has been there for 16 years. You can imagine the opportunity, the immense opportunity that is there for NMNO mobile money services in Ethiopia. And this is how you measure the potential of a country or a market when it comes to the launch and the success of mobile money. When you look at this, for example, Kenya, people think everything you do, you buy, you use Mpesa. But still, 71% of the transactions are cash. And this tells you Mpesa has a huge opportunity to be able to digitize 71% of these transactions. The other way you measure the possibility and the potential of a successful mobile money service is looking at how many people are able to access credit. Despite the launch of innovative products, the likes of the microcredit savings, Mshwari, KCB Mpesa that you know about, the Fuliza you know about, only 25% of the Mpesa customers are accessing credit. It tells you there's a 75% that is still excluded. Yeah? The other way you measure the opportunity for mobile money is in terms of financial inclusion. We talk about 2021, the financial inclusion in Kenya is at 84%, meaning there's a 16% still excluded. We need to find a way in bringing them into the formal ecosystem. But the huge opportunity lies on savings. I like what I got from my colleague here. They talked about financial inclusion, then you talk about financial health, then you talk about resilience. In Kenya, we talk about 3 stages. We talk about financial inclusion, we talk about financial empowerment, and then we talk about financial health. So Kenya has a huge gap from a financial health perspective. Only the savings account for only 13% of the GDP, telling you people are not saving. People are accessing more credit than they are saving. Insurance penetration is extremely low, less than 3% of the GDP. So there's an opportunity for Mpesa in Kenya to be able to digitize and improve the health of people. There's a lot of reliance on credit as opposed to people saving for today and for tomorrow. Okay. What I want to put here is that it has been said in many different ways. But when you think about an ecosystem, a payment ecosystem, or a mobile money ecosystem, what are the key players in it? There are what we call 3 key players in a mobile money ecosystem. You need to have businesses on one side, you need to have consumers on one side. The journey of Kenya is too long. To be honest, 16 years to where Kenya is, that is too long. A market like in Ethiopia has an opportunity to be able to build a complete ecosystem from day one. If you look at the journey of Kenya, it started from consumer to government to businesses to merchant. But Ethiopia has a unique opportunity to be able to build a complete ecosystem. Let me just give me 2 minutes just to explain what does this ecosystem mean. The businesses, these are your merchants, these are your agents, these are your government agencies, these are utility players. On the other side, you have consumers who are consuming, who are making payments, who are able to do their basic mobile money services, wallet-to-wallet payments and such. But what has been the missing ingredient, and especially in Kenya, is a player in between. And that is what Muri talked about, the integrators. Alone, a mobile money provider cannot be able to innovate on their own. They have to build open platforms that allows other players in the ecosystem to be able to innovate around it. And the scale of Kenya in the year 2015, 2016 to what it is today has been fueled by the fintech players who are utilizing the capabilities of APIs that are being provided by Mpesa in Kenya. And if you have to scale as a main player, as a technology provider, you have to allow your platform to allow for internal and external innovations. Fintechs play a key role. They don't focus on such a big use case, but they resolve specific use cases that meet a certain and specific customer need and challenge. So this is what we call the entire ecosystem. The 3 brings what we call the use cases and the products and services. But a question has always been asked, how do you consider yourself to be successful as a payment provider, or as a financial platform, or as a financial player? In my own perspective, there are 4 boxes that you have to tick to say that you are really successful in any payment platform. One of the boxes is critical mass. Are you able to attract enough number of customers, a sizable number of customers in your platform? That's number 1. If you cannot, then you start failing from there. Number 2, are your use cases meeting a daily need the customer do on a daily basis? Today, I can bet 80% of us will make a payment. Whether you are using cash, you are using any of the wallets that you have today, you are using a credit card, or whichever form that you're going to make a payment. Are your use cases meeting the daily needs of a customer? Number 3, which is highly debatable, is affordability. The question here is how affordable your service is. You will never compete with cash. Cash is frictionless. There is no cost that comes with cash. There are disadvantages that comes with cash. However, it's a legal tender, it's acceptable anywhere else, and you are sure that it will always work for you. And then that speaks to the last one, certainty. How many of you today will be comfortable carrying their credit card and be assured wherever they'll go, they'll be able to make a payment? For me, I'm not. I carry a credit card, but at the same time, I'm carrying cash because I don't know which is which. But you're able to create a level of certainty that a payment instrument is acceptable anywhere, everywhere someone goes, then you can consider yourself to be successful. But without ticking all these boxes, you are not. And for not ticking these boxes, it means you are not addressing a specific need and a specific challenge for your customers. Please. Okay, partnerships will be talked about. I really don't want to labor into this. There is no player, a single player in a financial service space can exist on their own. You all have different strengths from a technology perspective, from a skill set perspective, from a competence perspective, but you will never be successful on your own. So all of us must be open to partnership from day one. There are many benefits that comes across in terms of partnership. These are just generic benefits that will come across, but there is more and beyond. But I just want to speak to one, what I may call data analytics. The more partnership you have, the more use cases you have, the more data you have, and the more innovative you're going to be. Future innovations are never informed by anything outside data. The second point I want to make here is, we will not, and there is nothing called innovation. Innovation is a way of fixing existing dislocation points, because whatever you say you're innovating has been there. It is how inefficient it has been and how technology makes it efficient. Finally, this is my favorite, and this is what I've worked in my many years. Whatever you'll do, you have to be serving the underserved and the unserved in the society. It's very unfortunate that women across Africa fall under that category. I'm happy to report, like in Kenya, for example, we have been able to achieve a 50-50 parity of men and women when it comes to financial inclusion. A number of things have happened, benefits that have come across. I don't want to go into the detail. We have seen increased household. We have seen empowerment of our women. We have seen women doing more decent jobs. The subsistence farming that happens in Kenya, the manual work was actually being done by women, not men. But we are seeing women be able to upgrade and empower themselves from doing manual work to be able to do businesses equally like men. Thank you so much.